Hello and welcome to Washington Exec video series. I'm your host, Amanda Ziadeh, and joining me today is Allison Patrick, Senior Vice President of Sales at MAXIMUS Federal. Thank you so much for joining me today, Allison.
Well, Happy New Year, Amanda. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and Happy New Year to you too. So we're actually here to pick your brain about 2021 trends and kind of looking back at 2020. So considering 2020 was such a unique year with unexpected challenges, I wanted to ask first if there's one lesson you learned in 2020 in terms of the federal government contracting market.
Oh gosh, sure. What a great question. I think there were so many lessons that many of us learned as we adapted to, a new environment and a new challenge. But I was reminded again that the government operates under incredible constraints and at enormous scale that is unforeseen by any other entity, not another government or, a private sector business operates at the scale of the U.S. federal government. So, and during this time of challenge, where U.S. citizens were relying upon their government to take action, it was critically important for the government to have their GovCon partners, and that those government contracting partners, I think in terms of answering your question, were agile and could operate with speed. I think those partners that could really pivot with speed and deliberation were the ones there to, go hip to hip with the government as they faced, very new challenges. I think back, when the pandemic began, and Maximus, like most government contractors, quickly moved most of their employees, or as many as possible, to a home environment to keep, employees safe, our community safe, and of course our customers safe and healthy. But the fact that we had gone through a big IT transformation and moved to a cloud environment several years ago really enabled us to flex our programs in a real dramatic fashion and add computing capacity where it was needed. So for example, we moved 9,000 secure agent desktops through Amazon Workspaces, in addition to almost 7,500 VPN connection users. On scale, and didn't miss a beat in terms of supporting. These were our contact center operations, so that citizens were receiving the answers to the questions that they so desperately needed from the government. And then even, kind of more recently, another great example is just here a couple days ago on December 27th, when the government passed and signed the CARES Act extension into law. Maximus has had a long time relationship with the IRS. And because the IRS was so predictive about wanting to get out that payment to the citizens so quickly, the IRS was able to accomplish that in 2 days. In 2 days, over 30 million citizens received their EIPs, checks. And that was really because of the partnership and the recognition that agility and speed were absolutely necessary in 2020, for sure.
Definitely. So what market trends are you anticipating for 2021? And how are you and your team at Maximus preparing for those trends?
So, 2021 already feels a lot like 2020 to most of us. And so the remote work and the technology needed to support remote means will continue into 2021, of course, as we continue to ride through COVID-19. The good news is those vaccines are getting out there, and some of us can see light at the end of the tunnel, but I think few of us can really be anticipatory about what that means. So in terms of trends on the technology side, certainly cybersecurity continues to be a top priority for the federal government. And now with work locations being so dispersed, cybersecurity is really at the top of mind for Maximus, and making sure that we are ensuring all the citizen data that we manage and interact with, and have control over that citizen data. Automation is also another key technology aspect to keep up with the pace of demand. And then lastly, RPA continues to provide value in terms of volume and efficiency. And then the emergence of new technologies such as everything as a service. I think we're really seeing the government now embracing that these are essentially services that contractors are providing for the most part into their environment, and we're seeing new contract types like everything as a service. Certainly, 2021 with our administration change is going to bring about some I think minor swings in how we do business. One in which that Maximus, I think, thrives is the use of small businesses. And Maximus has had a long track record of exceeding our small business goals. We really look forward to continuing our longtime partnerships with niche companies, our veteran-owned service disabled company partners, and even our hub zone partners. So that's something that we are embracing already and preparing to see those subcontracting goals increase or certainly be utilized much more often.
Wonderful. So to close out, what areas of the federal market are you particularly focused on in 2021, and what goals are you setting for Maximus in those markets?
So as you probably know, because we interact with Washington Executive so much, that Maximus has a long time history in the health markets. We've supported the health agencies, for nearly 30 years. That being said, the way we are supporting our health customers today is very different than even 2 years ago. And I think the lesson that we learned was that while we're constantly infusing technology at the programmatic level, we have really not supported the CIO organization much at all. We are, really focused on mission, but as we are realizing, mission is so much part of the CIO organization, and all of our programs have so much great technology and efficiency in them that Maximus is now beginning to shift and think about we can pull that interesting innovation out of our programs and compete, in the technology space as well. So that should be interesting as we move more and more into technology offerings.
Wonderful. Well, we'll certainly continue to track that and catch up with you later on in the year. Thank you so much for this insight, Allison.
All right. Thanks so much, Amanda.